Welcome back. Francis Foliage is looking to preserve flowers and memories here in the 716. And joining us now with more details is the owner, Julia Gorman. Thanks so much for coming in today, Julia.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Let's talk about Francis Foliage and what inspired you to start this business.
So I got married in 2020 during the pandemic, and I preserved my own wedding bouquet just using a thrifted press that I got from my mom. And I posted a picture on my personal Instagram, and it blew up. I had like dozens of messages overnight. People were wondering how I got this done, if they could have it done to their flowers too. And again, it was the pandemic, so there wasn't really much else going on. So I figured, let's start a business, why not? And then here I am.
Yeah, well, you actually have a unique story because you know, I know that you tried this out for your wedding, but you already knew how to do it a little bit.
I did, yes. My grandma and I, when I was younger, we pressed flowers in just encyclopedias and old books, and it was just such a fun thing to open the books a few months later and, you know, look back to what we pressed.
So let's talk about what you specialize in.
So we primarily specialize in wedding bouquets. This is an example here, just the beautiful purples. Because if you think about it, you have these flowers on your sentimental day, and they just go to waste or they die.
And by the way, flowers are one of the most expensive parts of the wedding,
exactly.
right?
So why throw them away?
Why throw them away?
Yes,
yeah, I love that. And what's really cool is that you can do other things too. Let's talk about the other services you have to offer.
Yes, we do a lot of memorial service and funeral flowers because, again, think about all of the flowers that they have at these services. And I know that so many people love flowers and can be remembered by their flowers, so it's a beautiful way to remember those who have passed on before us. We also can press flowers from a baby shower, and we also have our Mother's Day frames here, which think of like a family treat, but it's a family garden with flowers personalized for each family's birth month.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, now you mentioned it, Mother's Day is coming up, so let's talk about those family garden frames and why these are so special. Is this something you've started to do recently?
Yeah, in the past few years around Mother's Day, we were just trying to think of new ways to make a really, really sentimental gift because we just see so many gifts out there that are kind of just a little bit of junk, you know?
Yeah.
But this is something that is so meaningful for your mom or your mother figure in your life. So each month of the year has a birth month flower, just like a birthstone.
Right.
So if you just tell us all of your family members' months, then we will incorporate into one frame for your mom.
Oh, I love that. That is so gorgeous. And you have an open house coming up too. Tell us about that.
Yes, we do. That is on May 10th, and it's from 10 to 2. We will have a free flower bar there where you can get a little bouquet. We will have some spring crafts. We'll have a little activity for the kids because kids love flowers too. And we'll also have a little discount on future custom orders, but it's only in person at the event, so you have to come to get that discount.
When and where is that happening?
That is May 10th. It is at my office. It's 5758 Big Tree Road in Orchard Park.
Now, you kind of started this just doing it for you. You posted on your social media, got a lot of traction, and now you've been able to turn this into a whole business. That's so crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's been a wild journey. I kind of never thought that it would get to this point, but I have 2 employees. It allows me to stay home a few days a week with my sons, so it's honestly just been like a huge blessing and never feels like work, which is really great.
Well, I love when we talk about these, especially some of those passion projects that came out of the pandemic and now have turned into full careers, right? And you had to pivot, right? So you got married during the pandemic. That was a huge life experience that had to change.
Yeah.
And you actually had a previous business too that you were doing and decided to pivot from that, right?
Yep, I had a clothing business that was so much fun, and I did it from high school up until my mid-20s. But it was just too much work. So when I started this and I had so many people contact me about it, I was like, you know what? I think this would be a lot more lucrative.
Yeah.
So I said, let's just do this full time, and it just worked out that way.
Good. I love sharing those stories so people can know that it's okay for them to pivot in their life and careers as well. I saw a little baby photo that came up, so tell us about that.
Yeah, I wish I brought one, but essentially what we do is we take, if you have a baby in your life, you know when they get your first stamps for your baby's feet in the hospital?
Yeah.
We will trace that on a frame so that you can have a little framed picture of your baby's footprints in little florals, and they're so cute, and we can even use their birth month flowers.
Oh, that's also another incredibly thoughtful gift for a first birthday,
Yeah, or even Mother's
a
Day,
Mother's
yeah.
Day, especially for if it's a first-time mom. This Mother's Day, that is so gorgeous. So tell us what the process is like if someone wants to work with you, especially wedding season is coming
Yep.
up, and I'm sure you're going to get so busy.
Yep, so essentially anybody who wants to use our services, they can just go on our website, francisfoliage.com, click the custom preservation tab. We have all of our different frame sizes, all of the different wood colors on there. They can just check out right online, put their event date in for their wedding, and then we essentially do the rest. The week of the wedding, we'll contact them about drop off, or people also can ship their flowers to us too, which is nice for out-of-town clients. And then it takes a few months for them to press and dry out. And then once the flowers are done, we'll arrange them on the frame, send them a picture to make sure they like it, and it's done.
Nice. And you can also do fun stuff. You have this candle
Yes,
here.
yeah.
Calendar.
So the candles are a really fun add-on item because the flowers are in between the glass,
Yeah.
so they won't melt away with the wax. So you can keep refilling it or use it as like a trinket dish when the wax is done and you still have your flowers in there.
And then also these ornaments too. So lots of great ideas to do with you. Julia, thank you so much for coming in, letting us honor you for your woman-owned business during this last day of Women's History Month. And viewers, if you'd like to learn more about their flower preservation services and upcoming spring open house, you can visit francisfoliage.com. Thanks again for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.